Melanie lived at Supportive Housing for many years. She came to us as she was having some difficulties living on the street. Melanie was schizophrenic and had been off of her medication for many, many years. And when she came to show, we got her housed. We connected her with a social worker and a psychiatrist, and she went back on her medication. Mel lived for many years, had lots of friends at show, and then was diagnosed with cancer in 2019. Melanie had been in and out of the hospital quite a few times, and at show we offer a lot of supports, but we don't have nurses on staff. And it had come to the point where Melanie needed more supports than what we could offer her. So the last time she was at the hospital, we explored with the hospital different options for Melanie, and one of the options that was given to us was for Mel to go into hospice. We had lots of discussions because that isn't something that she wanted at first, and after discussing it with the social worker at the hospital and with her family, it was decided that that would be what would be best for her.
It was hard because I couldn't be with my sister. When I last saw her in 2017 at show the apartment and said goodbye, I said, Mel, she already knew she had the cancer, but I said, when you get sicker, I'm coming back. And then COVID hit and I couldn't come back. So all these emotions run through you. There was guilt because I couldn't be with her, sadness, but then there was a deep sigh of relief that I had these wonderful people looking after her, and that she was in this marvelous hospice that I never really even knew what a hospice was about, and nothing but good things. They make that experience for the one that's passing so easy, if that's the word. They're just there for them.
I think communication comes to mind right away, and ensuring that they are understanding exactly what's going on with Melanie, what kind of care is she receiving, and also supporting them and being so far away, right? Staying connected to, Shawna was our primary person that we stayed in contact with, and so making sure that, we were supporting her with all the changes that were happening, helping her stay connected to Melanie. That was a really big piece for her.
Yes.
They always had daily phone calls, and so maintaining those. And then as Melanie got sicker, just ensuring that Shawna knew exactly what was happening, the changes that were happening, what to expect, and sort of planning for end-of-life care, and supporting her at a distance would be one of the biggest challenges, right, from at that time.
Oh, it meant everything. I didn't have to worry when we left. Like, we knew she was 100% taken care of, and that if anything happened, somebody would call. Like, we didn't need to worry that she wasn't getting her medications, or that people weren't being respectful of her boundaries or anything like that, because we knew that that was happening. It was very obvious, and like I said, the communication was always so open that I never walked into a surprise. Like, if she was getting worse, we knew. If she had a bad day, we already knew that. So that was really helped with that trust. And I think Mel, because it was such an easy transition, and she saw that we were all doing whatever it took to take care of her, that she just automatically trusted, almost because I automatically trusted. So because I did, then she would just follow that. I think that's how, yeah. Because she was very adamant that she wanted to stay at home, and a lot of our residents get like that. That's their home. It's the first home they've had, and they're not leaving. Yeah. They all joke around that they're not leaving until they're in a pine box. That's how they're leaving, and they're never leaving until that happens. So for her to she made that decision all on her own, and I'm so happy that we didn't have to make that for her, that Shawna didn't have to make that for her, which I think helped a lot too, that she got to make that decision. And I think she also knew and appreciated how much everybody was working so hard to make all those phone calls and visits with Shawna happen. So she said that all the time, how much, like, when the nurses did the phone calls with her and that sweet girl, and you know, so I think she knew that people were really trying.
Yeah. She would say, "Thank you, dear."
Yes.
Yeah, she was always so gracious.
So gracious,
she? Yeah.
yes.
She really appreciated everything, that she
Yes,
didn't take
she
anything
did.
for granted.
Nothing.
No. And just, did she have favorite, like, snacks in the room, favorite meals? Like, was there certain things that...
Swiss chalet.
Yes.
Evelyn used to bring her Swiss chalet.
Yeah.
Yes. And she asked me, am I allowed to have food in here? And yeah, you can have anything you want, Miss Melanie.
Yeah.
So
that was pretty neat.
yeah.
Yeah. And then she had pictures in the room too.
Yes.
Again, which I think supports her dignity. Like, she was surrounded by people who loved her, but they just couldn't be physically present with her. And so that also...
And having her own room, and she could ask for the door to be closed if she wanted the door closed. She could sleep when she wanted to sleep. She wasn't on anybody else's schedule, and she could have her TV on, blaring all night long if that's what she wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. All those things provoke dignity, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure they do.
Processions are very special. They're intimate. They're really quite beautiful. And typically after a resident dies, you know, I mean, during COVID it's been a little bit different, but you know, the family's often present, and anybody in the house who is working, we all join together with the family and we walk the resident who has died out, and we transfer them into the care of the funeral home. And there's often music being played, there's a candle that is lit and carried, and we keep that candle lit for 24 hours. So it's a real important ritual of saying goodbye. It's very respectful, it's emotional, and it's often very beautiful.
Heather told me about the procession, and I was in awe, because you don't want to think about it. You don't want to think that day's going to come, but it just sounded so peaceful, and they covered them with a quilt, a handmade quilt, and a candle, and all the staff walked behind as my sister was being led out to the waiting funeral vehicle. And you get to pick two songs that you'd like to get played as they were dressing her in her room, and as they were going down the hallway to the back door with her. And Leigh-Ann videoed it, or no, Heather videoed it all for me. And then at the back door, there was always, with Melanie and I, I'd always tell her at the end of our WhatsApp conversations, "Kisses on your nose, sister." And Melanie would give me a kiss. And Leigh-Ann bent over and said to Mel, "Kisses on your nose, sister," and kissed her on her cheek for me.
I think it gives a lot of closure, and I don't know if Shawna would have had the closure without that. She needed that, so yeah, I don't think without it that she would have fully been able to grieve Mel the way that she needed to.
It is that important ritual, right? That sort of shows the finality of life.
Yes.
And as we transition them out of our care, there's a visual part of that, and I think just that whole ritual is really important for people, just to start to see that this person is no longer with us.
I agree.